you guys, the dog got a hold of my glasses and they're just so, they're crooked on one side. And it always like just really bugs me. So if you always are thinking, oh, she's always messing with her glasses, that's why. And they don't sit tight anymore. I should take them over and at least have them like tighten one leg in so that they're not so loose, right? Oh, I tell you. What are you going to do with those dogs? I don't know. They're crazy. Anyway, we are going to um, wait for just a second here because Miss Bev is just finishing up. And so those campers will join us and we will head on over to the mess hall. I heard you telling Bev and Trisha that. Did I get that right? Hey Maritza, how are you? You guys just come on in, pull up a chair. We're headed into the mess hall. Grab a chair at one of the big tables here and pull out your paper. I know that, you know, you've got some scissors there too. Please be careful with them. We don't want any accidents here during the last part of our, you know, our day here. That would not be fun. Hello, Nancy. Welcome on in. Let's put us down here and we will get going. I guess I keep saying that and don't do it, right? Oh, and I can see it's not even ready to do it. Okay, bear with me 1 second. I've got to turn it on a second. Oh, that was more ready to go than I thought. Okay. Alrighty. Except, let me move it down a little bit. Okay, boy, I thought for a second I was going to have to really adjust it. That was lucky. Sometimes things just work out, don't they? Sometimes they just work out, and we're so glad when they do. Okay, now then, I have this. This is part of the other companion piece of the printable. And so here you can see we got Camp WannaMakeIt here. Here's our craft lodge over there. That's where Miss Jo was. And then we've got a little sign here, adventure, friendship, and memories. And then we've got just our scene of camp. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a little folio out of this. And so I have got a template that I like to use for the edge. And I have printed this off. And you know, if you don't have something like this, one of the things that you can do is you can use something round and just kind of do, you know, do some soft circles like that. I'm going to turn it this way because I can show you easier what I'm talking about. If you had something large, you could take like a jar lid. This is a little bit bigger of a round. And you could take these and you could just start making some little scallops along here like this with something round. And then it's all set to, you know, to cut out. I've got this little template here that I'm going to use, and I'm going to pull it right down here because I want to use as much paper as I can. And you know what, you guys, today I tried using the setting on my printer that is to do borderless printing, but it has options as to how much that it stretches out your image. And when you're using a printer, you know, at home, if you print borderless, what it's doing is it's kind of stretching the picture. Even though like you might look at it on the screen and there is no white border, that's the way it normally will print it. But if you don't want it to, you know, and I'm sure every printer interface is probably just a little bit different. And you know, I never had noticed that mine said that until the other day. I'm going to try to kind of do this dark just in pencil so I can see it. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to try just doing the minimum. And you guys, it worked really well. I was afraid that it was going to cut off too much and I wouldn't be able to see my little sign over there. Oops. So this is just cards, you know, like a index weight paper. So I'm going to cut this off before I do, oh, I want bigger scissors. Well, they'll be okay. So I'm just going to trim this off and make this a little bit of a, just an interesting, oh, you guys, I cannot see that. Oh, I see it. I can, if I hold it just right in the light, I can see my pencil mark. I was thinking I probably should have used a pen. That would have probably been so much easier. goodness. You guys, we were out the other day, and I have one of those Ring doorbells, and we had something that we were expecting was going to be delivered today. And do you know that it came so we were gone, and so, I used the speaker thing, and so I asked if the guy could tell where it was from. And so when we found out what it was, we're like, oh, that wasn't supposed to be here until on Wednesday. And so the guy says, so we go, well, could you wait a few minutes? And he goes, well, I was going to ask you if you wanted me to just sign for it myself, and I'll leave it right here. So we're like, okay. So we did that, and so I was afraid that wasn't the whole delivery, and I was afraid that might be them right now. Now I already went ahead and pre-marked where I want to score this, and it was kind of from that same template. I kind of used it. So let me tell you where this would be if you were scoring this yourself to make this kind of a little fold. So this is about, oh my goodness, I cannot see, you guys. Well, you know what? I can see it on this side. So this would be from the one edge, if you were cutting it right at the middle, it's about 2 3/4, and then right about 7 1/2 would be where you would score on the score marks. And that gives you two nice size little sections along here. And then when we fold this, we've got one big section in the middle. That is not right, you guys. That's a little bit off. Just a tiny bit. Why? I'm going to redo that. I'm going to do this about another... Nothing like showing you how to do it and messing it up, right? I think I'm going to do about another 1/4 of an inch. So it just has a little scooch on in there, a tiny bit. Oh, hello there. How are you, Kelly and Cheryl? Welcome on in. We're in here in the mess hall where we've got big tables to work on. Now our other people were at some special locations today, and I've just been roaming the camp. As camp director, I've just been roaming around. Now that's kind of interesting. Okay, so if we do it that way, so we've got a little more space here, then if you want to, if you wanted to make one of these, then this way, well, you'd be doing it this side. Okay, so let's measure from that side. It would be from, this would be your left side. So it would be still 2 3/4 and then 7 inches, or 7 1/4. What I look at and what I say today, they don't even match. Okay, so now, and this is what I'm always, what I am always messing up, you guys. And look at this. This doesn't look too bad, really folded like this. Now we have our little cabin on the front, little sign. We still can see some of our, the rest of the camp over there. That worked out pretty good. I didn't even plan that, and that worked out pretty good. But this is what I am always thinking about this backwards. When I think about doing a folio and I'm looking at a printable, I'm always thinking this is going to be that short side, or this is going to be the fold over side, and it's not. The left side is the one that if you want it to fold this direction, that's the one that, it works on, right? Hey, Sarah, how are you? Welcome on in. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of bend that back a little bit to help it. Okay, so let's look at some of the other things that we've got here. Let's make some pockets. And so to make some pockets, this set has three pages that are 1/4 page little, they're not full size, not full page prints, they're just small. And I thought this would be so fun. It's just the right size to make some things like memory decks cards, ATC cards, just little small things, other kinds of things, little embellishments that you might want to do So they're not really huge, and yet, you know, you've got 12 different kinds of, you know, patterns. So let's see, what would we like to make for we're going to do some, we want to make some like little flip-flap things, right? We want to do little flip-flaps and make it have some fun and interaction. Now, actually, is this wide enough to go this way? Not really, not for this way. It's not wide enough there, and that's okay. So you could mix and match these. These are fun. I like, and this one I did inside. It's got this real soft, kind of like a little map thing. And this says down in the corner, it says, it looks like a little watermark. Camp WannaMakeIt trail notes. And it's got room for your name and date. So that could be fun to just date it like that. Okay, so we got to decide. Oh, I hate deciding when I like all the stuff, right? Let me see. And any of them are going to be fun. Any of them. I don't know. I really like this. And maybe... Now it's going to be too... And especially if we fold... You know what? Well, first of all, let's just cut some. We can't use any of them if they're not cut. So let's just go ahead and get some cut out right away. And that way, then we can move forward. You know, I like this plaid, and I like that star with it because it's that same color. So we'll cut some out. So that would be cute there. It's a little too wide. It's too bad it is not quite wide enough for this one. But you know what? It doesn't have to go the entire length. You know, I'm going to leave it like that. Or the entire width. I'm going to use it just like that. And then I'm going to use this one, and I'll cut this down, and we'll fold this part over. And I'm just going to fold these. I'm just going to do like a little hinge. Just a, I always say if you have like a half an inch, even 3/8 of an inch works good to do a little hinge. So let's go ahead and let's see how wide this is. Oh, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just make it easy. We'll just hold it up here and cut it right to this size. And then we know how... Is that what I want to do? Yes. I'm like, wait a second. Wait. Oh my goodness. All right. Yes, I'm on right now. Okay, so here we go. So let's put some stars up here, and then we'll put this down here, and then that can like flip-flop over. So let's do a little bit of a score. So let's see. You know, when you want to score on the direction that... I'm just going to do... Well, let's see. How much overlap do we have? I think we've got plenty to do half an inch on both. Yeah, let's just do half an inch, and that will be much, much easier. So half an inch for a little hinge there. Half an inch here on one side. And we'll just start with that. Okay. How many of you like to make folios? I wasn't in the group. Oh my goodness, no wonder. No wonder we only have such a few people. And I shared myself over. Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks so much. Oh my goodness. It's always something, isn't it? Okay. Now I'm just gonna put some glue on here. Oh, we probably lost a lot of our viewers then. That's too bad. That is too bad. Okay. So now I'm just gonna kind of center it in here. between the score marks that I know I want. Not all of them that we made, right? And that'll give us a little bit. That actually gives us about 1/8 of an inch on each side, which really is nice because then it doesn't cause a lot of problems with anything catching as it opens, right? Hey there, Jeannie. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to share myself in, and then Cheryl was just saying I wasn't even in the group. So that happened today at camp. That happened at camp. Liz says she likes making folios. I do too. Now, well, I was gonna round the corners, but you know, there's not. If we round the corners, we're gonna have like a gap showing, I think. But do we care? You know what? Let's do this. Let's just take a tiny bit off with our scissors, because I always think even the smallest amount of rounding an edge just makes it look nicer. And you don't have to do much. And this will be way less than if I used the actual corner rounder. And this will not even hardly, I don't think we'll have much of a gap at all, just doing a tiny bit. You know, sometimes we think, oh, if we don't have our certain tool, we can't do it. Well, you guys, we got scissors. Well, now then, I should have, oh, look at that. I should have printed these on the back, and I didn't. But you know what? Let's do this. Let's put, we got lots of fun stuff to put in here. I mean, we got lots of textures to use. I say, let's put a little bit of this that looks like denim. And let's just make a little pocket back here behind the bottom flap. We'll do that. If we can get our scissors going. You guys, not long ago, we were in that diamond or denim event, and I did an altered notebook, and I covered it with denim. You guys, I love that thing. It feels so nice with that old pair of jeans on it. It has the nicest feel, and I was really kind of surprised. What is my segment? I am just roaming the camp, and I have, because, you know, as the camp director, I've had to, you know, check out what people were doing today. And so because of that, I have been, you know, busy with that. And what I ended up doing is just bringing people into the mess hall, and we're making a folio so that people could have some fun and, you know, keep some of their camp memories in here if they want to. Now, Jeannie made the cutest little thing earlier from Clifton's Crafty Casa, and she made the sweetest little thing with a little tag notebook, and it was a tabbed tag notebook. Huh? You got to be careful saying that. Hey, Michelle. And it was just such a cute little thing. She made it a memory. So she was over in Memory Meadow, and she was showing that, and it was from her granddaughter's, was it gymnastics event, Jeannie? I think gymnastics event that they had gone to, and they had traveled to it. And so it was, you know, something really, really fun and special. And it's just going to be such a great little memory thing. And, you know, on Jeannie's part, it was such a, you know, a labor of love. You know, not that it was that hard, but, you know, anything that we take time doing, you know, it's kind of a labor of some type, right? And it was just such a sweet little thing. And I said her granddaughter was going to end up loving that. Whether she does right this minute or not, you know, eventually it will be a really special little memory. And because it was like tag size, it's just not big at all. Now, I'm not going to put any gussets in here, or, you know, I'm not going to fold this up because I'm just using that same little small size of paper that we've got there with those choices. but I am going to just push it together the tiniest bit this way, and I'll just give it a little bit more, you know, looseness right there. And I've got some little cards that we can put in there, but now we've got that. You know, I should have, okay, so we've got those two, and then let's pick out something for the other side here. That's kind of cute. Should we use this piece here? I don't know, we've got all kinds. We're just going to have hodgepodge here. Just hodgepodge. Or, let me think about that for a second. You know, we could even put them, oh, I like this idea. What if we fold these in coming in from the side? That would be kind of fun and different. Then we've got even more flips and flaps. I say let's do that. Now, we already gave it a little bit of a margin in here, so I think it's not going to look like it was a mistake if we leave a little bit of a margin around these as well. Hey Sue, how are you? Tumbling and trampoline, yes. The national championship, isn't that amazing? I bet they just had so much fun. Now, I don't know. Now that I'm cutting this particular one out, I'm like, is that really the one I want? Let's see here. That is cute with the map. Maybe we have a different one we'd rather use. I don't know. Should we use this one that's kind of like this heavier texture? Maybe let's use this one too. So many options. So many options. I don't know why I'm being really precise cutting this, because I've got to cut some more off because this is way too wide. Oh, no, I know what let's do. Let's turn them like this. Well, not that one. We can't do that one. That will be the wrong way. But this one we can. I'm going to do that. And then I actually think I'm just going to trim it a tiny bit off here, because that's a side that's not straight anyway. And then we'll score that at 1/2 inch. And you know, you can do as much inking or whatever as you want to on these, right? Oh, that'll be great, Jeannie, to share a reel of it. Okay, that's really nice. And that gives us just a little bit in there to, that's that little bit of a margin. Okay, and then we'll just glue that down. Yeah, I'm really sorry I did not print on the backs of these. What was I thinking? I don't know. I guess I was thinking there was going to be stuff in it. Well, if it ends up being a pocket, you know, glued down, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we'll put that down. Now let's do this one. You know, I think let's score this one first. And then we can see how wide to cut it. We can mark it here. So yes, now, you know, Camp WannaMakeIt, we'll be able to come back to Camp WannaMakeIt another time. And who knows, we might have some seasonal things happening at the camp, right? We just don't know. We're not having Camp WannaMakeIt next month, though, so camp will not be in session next month. But certainly summer camp will have to have some more summer camp sessions, right? And we might have some different locations to go to the next time. This time we had the same ones that we did last month. Oh, I think I rounded those. So I hope you've had fun at camp today. You guys, how many of you went to camp? Oh, I forgot. I almost forgot. I had this great camp story to tell you. Okay, so when I was growing up, we had a couple of church camps. And one was churches in our area. Lots of, people went and were a part of that. Okay, then there was another church camp that was run by, oh shoot, let's see. Let me think about this. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and glue it all the way down here. When you open the other one up, this for sure will open up too, but this one can open like this. And, oh, no, it can't. No, it can't. Oh my word. Okay, that was a fail. Quick, get that off of there. Oh my goodness. I can't do that. But I can do it like this. This'll work. Well, that's too bad, because I would have rather had that come down farther. Okay, but now we know it won't work that way. Good to know, right? So we're going to have to trim a tiny bit of that off. And that probably doesn't have enough glue to stay. Almost, but not quite. Anyway, one of these camps was run by it was owned by a family, and it was only girls that went to it was just a girls camp at the time that I went anyway. And my mom was going to be a counselor. Well, I think almost every kid at this camp almost was related to the lady that owned it. So my mother decided. Anywho, there was me. That was what my mom was used to. Me. I was 11 before my brother was born. And so, like I said, there was me. I was all she was used to dealing with. She was not used to dealing with groups of kids in any kind of an environment like that. And how this happened this one day, I don't even know. All that I can remember is eventually they had my mother tied to a tree. All this, but because they were all so much older than I was. It was a bunch of older girls, and I mean, there were some younger like me, but they had her tied to a tree. And I can remember her just hollering and screaming, and I'm just standing there like, what? I don't know what she thought I was going to do about it. Okay, that really makes me unhappy. I wonder if I can... I just can't fix that, I don't think. It's glued down too well. I don't like it, though. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to make it happen. Because I just don't like it. So let's just be very careful. And kind of separate that. Another Christy fix-it project, right? Oh my goodness. See if we can't do it. Now, all we have to do is get it this direction. Okay, I told you I was going to make it work. Now, it might not be the prettiest, and I'm sure we can put something in there, but the other direction is going to be how it folds. And we could put something down there. We could put some, you know, we could cut a piece off that matches or whatever. Well, now this one is too long. Now this one is on the top and it's too long. Now, this made a little bit of a rip in that paper, and that's okay. All we have to do is put a little bit of our glue that dries clear, and we'll just put that tiny bit on there and just smooth that down. And when it dries, it's going to be fine. So we can either leave this and, you know, or trim it off there. I'm not going to worry about it. So now then, I like that a lot better. Phew. Hi, Bev. I'm trying to fix problems I created for myself. So here at camp, you know, that it's not really about Camp Fix It, but you know, that's the cabin I should be in, right? That's the place I should be presenting instead of taking everybody over here. Okay, so now we've got that. We've got these here. We can fold this. This will fold this way, and there we've got it. Now, you could even put a strip along here and have just a tiny, tiny little thin pocket of something. And let's see. I did not print something out like that. Let's see what else we've got we can put on here. Let's put something on here. We've got the camp office, the craft lodge. Oh, we're in the mess hall. The sleeping cabin, the snack shack, campfire circle, the trailhead, and inspiration point. So we've got all of these fun little things here, and we can just, you know, pick and choose and put some of these things on here. Any of these would just be so cute on there. I think I might put the camp office right here. It says all campers check in here. That's cute. Let's do that one and just put that there. So, and we can make it even just, we won't glue it all the way down, and then it can be like a little tuck spot on there as well. And we'll just kind of rough cut it along here. We'll ink the edge a little bit so it doesn't matter if it was a perfect cut. And I always say, you know, just whack off some of that part so you don't have to mess with it. What was it we were doing the other day, and I was calling it, it was not fussy cutting, it was just fiddly cutting. Oh, I was cutting behind something. I said that was fiddly cutting. It wasn't really fussy cutting. Now, because I'm going to make this more like a tuck spot, I am not going to cut out the little lantern. It would just make it too loose. It wouldn't have enough support behind it. So we don't want to do that, but we'll add a little bit of ink. Anyway, the camp story with my mom, oh my gosh, and she was so mad at me. And I'm like, I don't know what she thought I was going to do. I probably was about 9 years old or something. And, you know, there were girls that were high school age. And, oh, they just had the best hoot about it. And so then when my mom, you know, talks to she was, in my recollection, she was an older lady who was like, you know, who owned the camp. And she thought it was rather humorous. Oh, and that made my mom even more unhappy, as you might imagine. Just ink that so it's not so white right there. Okay, we can just put that here. We'll put our camp office here. Now make a cute little tuck spot. Oh, thanks, Bev. It was fun. I enjoy working on them. So there's our camp office there. Okay. We could put something else on here too. Let's put, I don't know, some of these people. Oh, maybe we could put, we've got all kinds of things going on here. What time is it? 36. Let's go ahead and cut some of our other pieces though first, so we've got time. We probably should put another pocket. What shall we use for a pocket? Let's just put a little pocket here. I don't know. Do you guys think that I have just got way too many patterns in one thing here? I never really anticipated using so many together. But then when I decided I was going to do a folio, I'm like, oh, I've got all of these little small pieces. That could be fun. You know, I should have used a piece that I could turn the other way. Oh, let's do this. Let's make kind of a layered pocket so that we can cover up some of that. Some of our boo-boo there. How about that? So, cut it about there. Yeah, if we make a layered bit, it's all about hiding the boo-boos, right? If you can. If you can hide them, it works out fine. So cut this here. And then let's just, let me see. Boy, we don't have, well, we're not going to have much to do that with. Maybe. Yeah, that's not going to do much. You know, we could just cut it. We'll do this. Instead of like layering them, we'll still do the two pockets, but we'll just bump them right up against each other. So that'll work. So we'll just put a little bit of a little notch. And I'm going to hold these together so I get my notches lined up. I like to do that because that way, even if I didn't get them in the middle in the first place, at least they're both the same wonkiness off, right? So we'll do that. We'll put this one on the bottom. We'll put the big one on the bottom, and then we'll just still put this right here. And then we will still have covered up that messed up one. There's always some way to fix it, right? Oh, thanks, Sue. Yeah, aren't they fun? Hey, Celeste, how are you? It's a Riley thing. Welcome sign, that's got to be on the front, the cover or front page. The welcome sign. Oh my gosh, I got so much stuff here. Was it one of the little buildings or something else? Oh, it's not on here. Oh, I don't know which one. That's, well, we do have a little sign on the front though. We've got a sign on the front. Here's our camp. Our craft lodge is here. And we've got adventure, friendship, and memories. So we do have a bit of a sign already on here. So let's go ahead and glue these down. And again, I'm not, you know, I didn't make any, you know, any folds to, you guys, this little plastic part, I saw it got damaged the other day that should live on the top of this. Sometimes they get a little hole in them, and then they're not as tight, and you don't know if they're keeping air out. And you can't really tell exactly, you know, where the damage is or if you've got the tip actually covered up. And so I'm like, well, then I should probably keep a pin in it. Okay. And again, I'm just going to push that a little bit. But this is going to cover up our real ugly spot there. Look at all that ink I got on the back side of these little pockets. You guys have any fun camp stories? Did you go to camp? We also went to camp when we were like in 5th or 6th grade where I lived. Our county had a school thing like that. And then when we were up in Minnesota, they had the same thing. And then when we moved back to Colorado, some of the kids got to go to that same type thing. And I don't know if they still were going to the very same place or not. Now, these cards could be fun, and these are more like kind of fun experiences, like while we're at camp, right? So we've got the craft table. We've got on the nature hike here. We've spent some time out doing some drawing, and I love this crazy book. It's like got half a page here. I actually think that would be kind of fun to have a book like that. Except when you fold this page over, it's going to be messed up. But sometimes when you're working with some of these things, you get mostly okay and makes sense. Sometimes I have to do some adjusting, and it just depends on where it is and what it is. If I find that I'm going to spend the time to do that. For that, I decided no, I was just going to leave it. It still was kind of fun. You get the gist of what's going on. So, don't think that I'm not aware of some of the quirky little things on some of the cards. But I think that, overall, it has a fun feel, a whole fun Camp WannaMakeIt feel. So at Camp WannaMakeIt, I mean, we're making stuff. We're making this stuff. We're having some fun times doing it. We're learning new things. Oh my goodness, you guys. Could you believe that thing Cheryl was trying out with the soaking those old cards, the things off of those old cards? That was amazing. I would have never thought you could have soaked those paper greeting cards and pulled them off of, the other paper scrapbook pages that they were on. Soaking that glue till it, released the stuff. I mean, that was very interesting. And, a while back we did the thing where they did the boiled books. I had never heard of that. That was a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Now, Miss Jo said that people were going to get some kind of caffeine later in the day so that they would be awake to go down to the nightly campfire. Here's our nightly campfire. So, we're going to have s'mores. How many of you like s'mores? My husband says, that just sounds awful. We're like, have you ever tried them? No. He just knows. He just knows by thinking of stuff whether it should be something that he wants to try or not. Now, for Mr. Adventure, is that really adventurous? I don't think so. We can put this up in here. We can put some of these cards here. So we got our little cards here. I wonder if the Craft Lodge would fit there. Oh, I think it would. Let's put the Craft Lodge in here. We'll put that there, and we can do another little same tuck spot kind of thing. It'll be fun. Oh my goodness, one time. Okay, so when we were up in Minnesota, lots of people had like a, what do you call it? A fire pit. Oh, it's a Riley thing. I didn't realize you were over there on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. A great color. I'm going to have to figure out which thing you're talking about. Because if you were talking about it being a closure, yeah, we'll still have to have a closure. Although, a lot of times I just use like a little bit of like a Velcro dot and call it a day. Sometimes I just make it easy. I just make it easy on myself. So I've got to go through this stuff and figure out where exactly you meant. Just do that and get the little white edges toned down. Anyway, when we moved here, we're like, oh, we should get a fire pit. We have a great place out here. And you could tell the people had something like that. It's like, oh, it's the perfect place. So we start off, and in Minnesota, summer is the time you have your fire pit. Like, or, early fall or, late spring or there's just times that it's fabulous. And in Colorado, it cools down in the evening. So, again, great time to have now, it all is based on how dry things are and, are there fire bans and stuff like that. But we decide that's what we're going to do. So we go on a hunt for a fire pit thing here in in Texas. And people are looking at us like we have lost our ever-loving minds for summer. And somebody at like one of the stores goes, oh, that stuff has already been put away. We're like, why would you put away fire pits? It's just now like getting into summer. Well, we found out why you don't use fire pits in summer in Texas. Oh, we just laughed about it like, okay, that would be a good reason. Nobody wants that. Okay, let's see. We've got some people here. Shall we put one of this gal's here reading? That's kind of fun. Or this gal is here. Oh, here now. She is truly at camp. These gals here are truly at Camp WannaMakeIt, aren't they? They're making it. This gal is able to take some pictures. She's going to document everything for us. We've got these cards too. We can pop into some of our little pockets that we've made. These would be great to put, to make like little journal cards on the back. The other ones too we just worked on. Those would be fun. Okay, my time is almost up, and we're gonna have to go over and see what Michelle is gonna have ready for us to watch. Let's see, what was the other one of these? Oh, this has some more fun stuff. Here's our campfire and our making some s'mores over here. We should just cut down this whole row real quick and just be done with it. I could always go back and do the little corners, right? Thanks for hanging out with us today, everybody. We hope that you have enjoyed another session of Camp WannaMakeIt. How old do you think you were when you went to your favorite year of camp? Or did you go camping a lot with your family? I think that's different. It's different going to a camp, something like this, where you're with other, a lot of other campers and there's different kinds of activities than it is going camping with your family. It's just a whole different experience. And I never liked going camping with my family because all I can remember is every time we would go camping, my family, it would rain. I kid you not, almost every time it would rain. So I don't know what was up with that. No idea. But that was true. I did, though, by the time I was in high school, and we had a really nice church camp that we would go to, and that was always a lot of fun. because by then, you know, you have quite a few friends to go with, and my cousin always went too. So there were the two of us, and she's about like 4 months older than I am, so we always had a lot of fun. So still, I guess it was kind of camping with family even then, though, right? Still, let's see. So here's another one. Let's see. I think I'll just put this lady out here. She's just enjoying some quiet time camping, which that can be kind of fun. Sometimes people don't really take time for themselves unless they're, you know, they're out doing something like that, and then it's like they plan to do it and that's what they're gonna do, and she's gonna just sit here and read her book because she's out in nature. She's just enjoying, you know, the outdoors, and she just decided, this is my time. I am just gonna enjoy it. Okay. Okay. And just a little bit of ink on the edges here. Now, actually, I'm going to make her like a side tuck spot. So to do that, we're just going to put some glue down here and around the bottom. And then she can be a side tuck. I should have had some of those other little things. There are some smaller things to use for pieces in the little freebie part. I know that. Or, you know, something else you can do is you can take, here, you can take other little, you know, small pieces that you have, or some of those other little journal cards, and you can fold them and then, you know, stick those in something, and maybe you just have a tiny little note. Or this is a tiny little map, tiny map piece, right? I'll just stick that in there. And so, I mean, you can just keep going on and on and on, and, you know, just adding all the little fun bits and pieces to these. Like this. I still have got to find the, let's see, Joe said they had Bible camp from 3rd grade on. Yeah, I think that's about the age that they start letting kids go to camp. They're about 9, right? 9 years old. And I think that's usually kind of the time. Can't wait till your ink gets here so you can print up. You're waiting on ink for your printer. Oh, yeah, you can't print without the ink, right? I tell you, I really do enjoy my, you know, those EcoTank printers where you put the ink in the tank. I have been so pleasantly surprised with how long those ink tanks go before they need to be refilled. And you guys can guess the amount of ink that I go through. When I'm designing printables, I usually, you know, print them out. For some of the things that I do that go out in physical kits, I have to print those out to see what they, you know, look like, what the color looks like, and, you know, and judge that before they ever even go off to the printer. And so, man, I'm always doing, all kinds of printing, and I really have been pleased with, how well the ink stays like that. So I still have a couple minutes here. Um, any questions from my campers? I hope you have enjoyed the day at